All right, so it's Monday, 14th November. We've just had the close. Little recap of the markets here. I'll start off with the SPY very quickly. Very bearish close. I saw it getting bearish during towards the end of day, sort of 2 or 3 hours before the end of day. So I did a bit of trimming, not actually in my miners, in some more of the mainstream stocks I hold, like Meta, for example. I bought that during and just after earnings, so that was a nice profit. I closed the position today. A few others, Tilray, Paramount, I'd done the day before, so Friday. But the point is, I see markets going lower now. So the reasons are mainly because I thought the markets have been overextended, especially if you look at the Dow. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But also, I noticed, I can't believe I didn't realize this before, but I noticed that SPY just touched 400. And I know it's options expiry week this week, so I'm expecting some crazy swings. And I just thought, you know what? The markets are too high. They don't belong this high. We've touched 400 the SPY. The Dow is way too extended, basically almost touching its secondary resistance. I mean, it's taken out already the longer term, more important descending trend line. I didn't think it would. It did. I think it's going to be a head fake because you just zoom out. I mean, what the hell are we doing all the way up here? I know it's the down, it's more defensive and makes more sense to go up than the sort of more speculative Nasdaq tech stocks, let's say. But just overall, I expect to go all the way back down here, basically, and flush in the other indices. So for the SPY, it was intraday. If we just go to the 15-minute, it was, I don't know where it was. I think it was just as we peaked and touched 400, it sort of started to come down. I thought, I drew the ascending line you could see there and it started to flush. I thought, nah, I think we're done here. Obviously, I can be wrong. We'll see. But for me, that's when it was really time to bail. So SPY 400, ugly close, looking to go lower. I mean, obviously, we're not just going to go down in a straight line. You know, we might, if we do go down, maybe touch this area because this is previous resistance, let's say just under 390, and then maybe sideways, and then back down here. I'm not going to draw all the mini support levels, but to me, we're going lower on the Nasdaq. Oh, I mean, it looks like we just sort of closed at previous resistance, which has become support. It was a bit of a head fake. I think we go lower, nothing special. This is the weakest of all the indices. Dow Jones been very strong, but ugly close. I expect to go at least down to 33,000. Next stop is probably 32,500, 32,000, probably working in 500 unit levels, mini levels at this point. But I say we go lower tomorrow. The Russell 2000 looks identical to the Dow. And actually, I also noticed this one had just kissed its own descending line. Now, I've drawn a few lines. I don't like to draw too many, but they all make sense. So that's why I left them in. Actually, we can get rid of some more ones. But here, if we were to take out, and you can see this acted as perfect resistance, this line. If we were to take out this one, we would have moved up here, in my opinion. But actually, this one here is more important. If I just remove this one, I'll probably remember to put it in. I mean, if we take this out, I'll probably automatically put that back in. But you can see this is the one that stretches out to this area, you know, sort of pre-2022. So the longer the line spans from, and the more candles it hits, the more credible it is. So basically, it's the more important trend line that became resistance. So if we look at these four indices, you've got the SPY, which hit 400, which is a level because it's psychological. It wasn't actually a sort of technical level per se, but it was a psychological level. We've got the Dow Jones basically touching this level. You know, it's just off by a few points. And then you got the Russell hitting its descending line. So they all sort of hit some sort of a level. And the Nasdaq, not so much. You could call it a head fake, but to me, basically, resistance has been hit. And when I zoomed in intraday, and I was looking for a reason to call this bear market rally to a close. I mean, when I look at the Dow, it's just absolutely obscene, you know, to have something this move this far up. And last time we did that, it came all the way back down. And I'm not just talking about the Dow, I'm talking about all of them. So it reminds me of that sort of period up here where everyone was very bullish and I was basically extremely bearish. And I'd sold a lot of stock then, not short, just completely sold a lot of long-term positions I really believed in, and I was very happy to buy them back. And okay, this time the SPY hasn't bounced as much, but the Dow has. And yeah, I'm calling it again. It's the top. If it goes higher, my thesis doesn't change. I think this Fed pivot is way overblown. There's no pivot. There's no pivot until they cut rates. They're still increasing rates. Maybe they're lowering the rate at which they increase, but they're still increasing. Then they're going to pause for months. And by then the market's in the toilet. It already is structurally, fundamentally. So yeah, no, we don't belong up here. So, and then let's look at the VIX. The VIX went green, quite green. You know, when you got sort of minus 1% day, not even, you'd expect the VIX up 3% maybe. I don't know. It does depend, but 5% is saying something. I think we'll bounce. We'll go back up to the 26 point something zone tomorrow if the markets continue to drop. So that's the markets. Let's move to rates. Rates basically boring. Basically flat today, the way I'd see it. I mean, up a little bit, of course, but nothing too crazy, just sort of sideways to flat. I mean, they've come down quite a bit, not too much. So I'm not going to spend long on that. It's, you know, it is what it is. It's just sort of flattish across the board, which is similar to the dollar, which okay, it rose at some point, but it gave back quite a bit. So the dollar was also sort of sideways up a little bit. I'd call it sideways up, nothing too crazy. So dollar across the board. I'm not going to go through every currency, but I'd lump yields and the dollar together in this video, just sideways up. You can see it sort of tried to rally and then just sort of gave back a bit, lost its ascending support, but then didn't flush too much after that. So it's a nothing day. What would I expect from it tomorrow for the yields and the dollar? More of the same, actually. I don't know if there's any crazy news items tomorrow that might move it. I do still think we might touch 105. I know a lot of people are watching that. I mean, I've been watching it for a while. I've indicated this level for a long time, but I've heard a few other people mentioning 105 now. I don't like it when a lot of people mention sort of what I'm looking at. I mean, not because I'm looking at it, but, you know, we're all looking at the same indicators. But yeah, it does stand out. 105, previous resistance becomes support. But I just feel like the dollar's come down a bit. So you could rally, to be honest, and go to 107, 108 and then hit 105. It's kind of, I'm just not too sure at the moment, actually. So I'm just happy to watch the market decide a bit more. Let's move on to gold and silver. So we had a big move already. I actually expect the gold and silver to be a bit more red today, given the way the markets closed, but actually they held their gains. During the beginning of the day, they were actually a bit red, but they sort of clawed their way back up and went green. So, and that's gold. And silver was actually, sorry, what am I talking about? Silver was green by quite a bit today. Silver was green by sort of 1.5%, which is surprising because I thought it was a bit tired. If you look at the Friday candle here, sort of doji, it sort of closed near where it opened, but it was unable to sort of close high, you know, in percentage points. It wasn't really able to clear this level here, this ascending level. So to me, it looked very tired by Friday. I thought it would be red today. And gold, well, gold basically created a hammer. So although silver outperformed gold, gold still closed very nicely, nice hammer. So it looks like the metals want to go for, well, gold wants to go for 1800 and silver wants to go for 2250. That's still in the cards, which would coincide with the dollar going down to 105, which is not the biggest move. So that would really, so from where it is now, down 1.5%, that would really coincide perfectly. But what would markets do if gold is going up, dollar's going down? It's hard to tell because I think that the markets are bearish and normally risk off or risk on, let's say risk on when the markets go up, the metals tend to go up. But we've seen a lot of periods in history where that's not the case. So that'll be interesting to see. If the dollar drops, the metals go up, what happens to the markets? And what happens to the miners? Because the miners tend to follow the markets, but they also follow the metal. So as we can see, if the dollar hits 105 and the metals go up, so gold goes for 1800, silver goes for 2250, this is still totally within the realm of realism. GDX hitting 29, GDXJ hitting basically almost touched it today. 35, just piercing 35. That would be interesting to see. I do think, and actually, I'm hoping at this point that we get a pullback because I've sold a decent amount. All my positions are the value I've given them. Let's say the value of the holdings are at the lightest weight possible. I have three modes. I have light, medium, and heavy. So I usually put my miners on heavy when the market's going down. I think we're really going to bounce. I go in hard in all of them. And then I really need the market to go up. And vice versa, when I think the market's gone up quite a lot, I lighten the load a lot. And here I'm not super light, but I'm at light level. And normally I want the miners to go down at that point so I can buy back and basically make it medium when I'm sort of not sure, and then heavy when I really think it's we're at the lows. Because I've trimmed them on this way up here, and they've actually gone up more than I thought they would. So I've trimmed them quite a bit. So I really need them to go down. Otherwise, I'm okay. I mean, I've calculated also worst case scenario for me is that the miners keep going up and I make money, but I don't make as much as I as I could have since I have so much in cash. So I think the markets will go down. I think gold and silver will go down too. If they don't, I'd like to see how the miners react. Do they follow the metals? Do they follow the markets? But remember, when the markets crash, I mean, remember when you have those periods where the markets really are crashing, like -3% day for the Nasdaq, you usually have everything red. You can have gold, silver, the miners outperforming, but still they'll be red. If you have a crazy move down, that's what I'm hoping and thinking. So that's that. I'll finish very quickly with crypto. Today's going to be a quick video. Now, crypto had a whipsaw day. We basically, during the weekend, I did think that we would, I think I said the ascending line, whether I said it or not, the point is the ascending chart is the weakest chart. This sort of staircase up, it's just waiting to lose its ascending support, and then it sort of goes down. I said this would happen, and then lo and behold, was it into Monday? Yeah, Monday morning here, we're flushing towards the lows. And I remember waking up and seeing this, and then I actually saw this breakout here. I thought, okay, and that's why I drew the line actually. Why is this technical breakout happening? And is it just technical? But it went quite high and actually went above the sort of the recent consolidation zone. So then I saw later that it was news. What was it? It was the Binance CEO saying they were going to put together some recovery fund for the industry. Whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's really bullish, but maybe they were just looking for an excuse. Sometimes charts are built in a way that any catalyst will do. And then when I saw this extra pump high, I thought, wow, that's maybe it's a meaningful reversal moment here. And then it just dumps. And I think it dumped on some news too, where they said they haven't seen anyone ask for help from this fund, something like that. I don't follow the news too much on crypto, but I think that's actually what it was. And now you've sort of got it, it's basically retracing to go back down. It's kind of ruined the chart a little bit. It makes it exciting, but if it retraces back from whence it came all the way back down here, that'll be very bearish, because then you've got another ascending line, and this is the lowest one possible on support. And news hasn't done it. I think it will flush, and then I mean it wouldn't take much to just trigger the stops, especially how everyone's scared of the next exchanges going down. I've heard a bunch of them that are being targeted, whether it's true or not. I think the whole sector is kind of trembling. So I don't think it will take much to just trigger stop losses and just flush 15,500. And then, we're going down to the next levels. I've drawn them already, the ones that I think are valid. 14,000, 12,500, etc., etc. We'll see when we get there. I think we will get there. So who knows? It could be tomorrow. I don't know what the news is tomorrow. I should be really checking FX Street, but let's see if there's anything tomorrow. Sorry, economics calendar. There's always something. Okay, the Chinese. Yes. The British unemployment rate. Your GDP for the Europeans. PPI, that could do it. Those are big numbers now. Inflationary numbers. The Fed speaks. Well, every day is kind of a big deal now. So yeah, let's see. Good luck. Yeah, speak tomorrow.